and 1 strikeout. And we're getting set now with Dugan on the mound. We'll get into the defensive positioning for the Stanford Cardinal in a second. Leading it off here for the Davis Aggies, it will be number 33, Mark Wolbert, center fielder. Nick Dugan. Oh, go ahead.
This is going to be a very different UC Davis team, though, that Dugan is facing. We have Riley Acosta, Brandon Woolridge, Jason Hansen, all names that we didn't see in the last series, or the last game, I should say.
Second pitch, high fly ball to left center field. Underneath it and putting it away is Ethan Haught in center field, and that gives us a moment to lay out the defensive structure for the Stanford Cardinal. It'll be Dugan on the mound, as we mentioned, Charlie Somm behind the plate, Haskins at third, Becerra at short, Nadai at second, Sasaki at first, and then Marsh, Haught, and Reynolds left to right across the outfield. And that brings up Riley Acosta batting second here for UC Davis, playing catcher in batting in the 2 spot. First pitch, high and away, 1-0.
Yeah, and this is pretty much the same lineup that the Cardinal ran with versus UC Davis in their previous matchup on April 7th. The only difference now is rolling with Brady Reynolds out in right field, and that makes a big difference when you have a hitter like Brady Reynolds who's now going to be working through in the lineup.
Second pitch taken in for a strike, 1-1 the count now. Riley Acosta, senior, batting .257 on the season. He's played in every game, started all but 1 for the Aggies this year. 1-1 the count now to the catcher.
And the one game he didn't start was the one versus Stanford. So this is now a new opponent going up against Dugan here at the mound, and that's going to make a big difference here. The UC Davis is now kind of bringing out their big-time hitters. This seems like more of their ace lineup. When you look back on the one in April 7th, a lot of starters were sat, a lot of guys were resting. This is now a lot of their top dogs out here, so how are they going to adjust?
Another one taken by Acosta, this one in for a strike. 2-2 the count now to the senior. Riley Acosta wearing number 29 out of Redondo Beach, California, down in the Los Angeles area. And here's the 2-2. Swing and a bouncing ball to third. That'll be foul, and we'll stay at 2-2. So a good at bat here in the 2 spot for Riley Acosta, seeing a lot of pitches, not just for himself, but for the rest of the lineup.
And Riley Acosta is someone who's also been walked 13 times, which shows that he knows how to battle in pitch counts and how to stay alive.
2-2 the count, 1 out. Dugan on the mound, delivers, swinging a bouncing ball to short, handled well by Becerra. He'll flip it over to first, and that'll be taken care of by Sasaki, a little low, but no trouble there. 2 up, 2 down for the Stanford Cardinal.
Nice routine play by Becerra, and that's the one thing that the Cardinal defense can really hang its hat on right now. They have really efficient fielding throughout the whole entire season. It's now, can they really get things going here at the mound with some efficient pitching and just leave it in the hands of the defenders to do the rest?
That brings up the left fielder, Braden Woolridge, junior out of Chino Hills, California. Woolridge having quite a year here for the Aggies as he takes that first pitch low and outside. Good framing there from Charlie Somm behind the plate, but our home plate umpire, Tommy Caparlo, did not buy that. Braden Woolridge bats left, throws left. He leads the team in batting average, hits, doubles, RBIs, and is tied for the most home runs. With just 2, though, that's a big difference between these 2 teams. Stanford with massive slugging and power in their lineup. And you look at the most home runs that a designated player has hit for UC Davis, and the most is 2 on the year. 2-0 the count now from Dugan. Line drive high into right field, off the wall. Playing it is Reynolds, and in safely for a stand-up double is Woolridge.
And that was a name that I mentioned. Someone who did not play in the last game versus Stanford was Woolridge. And as you mentioned, you just named off his stat line right there. A big impact on this team, batting at .317, 39 hits, 7 doubles, now make it 8 on the year. That's a big-time player that wasn't in this last game. And now he's already making an impact here in the revenge match.
2 outs, 1 on for Jason Hansen, who will step up to the plate for the first time, batting cleanup today and playing third base. Jason Hansen, transfer from Yuba College, originally out of Roseville, California, senior. taking first pitch in their first strike.
Jason Hansen with 12 RBIs on the year and has a runner in scoring position already early off here for the cleanup hitter.
Here's the pitch in the dirt. Well done by Som to keep that in front of him as he just tries to calm everybody down. And that's a big difference here. We've seen Dugan struggle a little bit from the stretch before this year. So a big test for him early on as he's pitching from the stretch right here in the first inning.
Yeah, Dugan's only pitched 14 innings this year with a 7.36 ERA. That's not a great ERA that you want to have. Dugan had a fantastic outing versus UC Davis in his first time, but a lot of new faces here.
Bouncing ball foul, 1-2 the count. Dugan gets ahead.
And that's going to be the key for Stanford, and not just Dugan, but all the pitchers that they're going to run through here in this bullpen. Can they get ahead on counts? They keep finding ways to kind of find themselves behind in counts, and that sets them up. They have to leave something over the middle, and that's what sets up great hitting for the opponents. They have to take the advantage.
1-2. Pitch low again. Charlie Som once again keeps it in front of him. Som behind the plate today for the Stanford Cardinal, wearing number 21. Senior out of Thousand Oaks, California. Has been busy behind the plate and at the plate, actually, on both sides. We'll come to that as he gets up to bat later on in this game. 2-2 the count, 2 outs, 1 on. Dugan will check the runner on second. Wooldridge.
And
he has some speed on him. 2 stolen bases out of 3 attempts, but of course, stealing third is a whole other ball game. Then again, with a right-handed batter, it's not unheard of.
Well, with 2 outs, though, I don't imagine a steal was there. I think that was more for Dugan. As you could tell, another pitch into the dirt. That's his 4th one in this at-bat. 4 pitches thrown straight into the dirt. You could tell he's trying to get a grip of the ball, maybe trying to settle in a little bit here after the double.
It's certainly a mentality, Alejandro, right? We mentioned he struggled from the stretch, and part of that is just most of his attention now has been drawn to second base.
And that's a big problem that a lot of pitchers have had for the Stanford Cardinal. I noticed it a lot. They always test those runners on first, on second, but they don't focus on the man right in front of them. And that has an effect, you know, when you always think about something else in the back of your head instead of just eyes up front, ready to pitch.
2 outs, and here's the payoff. And he's hit. Dugan hits Hansen. Hansen will take it, hit by pitch. And suddenly, after 2 up, 2 down, a double and then a hit by pitch, and the Aggies have a 2-out rally going here in the top of the first. That brings up Ryan Lee, second baseman, hitting in that 5 spot today. Junior out of Sunnyvale, California. Also has 2 home runs on him on the season, tied for first on this team.
Yeah, Dugan threw that ball away the second that pitch was hitting the at-bat.
Here's the pitch, swing and a miss. Beautiful pitch there from Dugan.
That's what Dugan's been trying to get this entire time, to get one of those off-speed pitches to drop just like that. That's why a lot of those pitches were in the dirt and then out of control, and obviously ends up hitting one of the hitters at bat.
Som's going to call timeout, give Dugan some signs here.
Just settle in. You did a really good job in the first 2. You know, they made contact, of course, but it was a quick 2 outs. Get ahead on this count. Relax. Just take a nice breath.
2 on, 2 outs, 0-1 to Ryan Lee. Dugan checks the runner and delivers. Swing and a miss. And an attempted pickoff on first. Hansen gets back in time. He'll be safe.
Like the eyes from Som there. Just reading Hansen was a little far off of the bag there. Almost getting it with Sasaki. Moving in. But either way, the biggest thing there was another great pitch from Som off speed to get into an 0-2.
Dugan was 1-2 to Hansen before eventually hitting him with a pitch, and this one he's able to come back around, gets Lee swinging. So the Aggies leave 2 stranded in the top of the first. Nick Dugan makes quick work, 5 up, 3 out, and we'll head to the bottom of the first with Stanford Cardinal coming up to the plate. Welcome back. Bottom of the first, Stanford Cardinal up to the plate. And to lead it off, it'll be Trevor Haskins, third baseman for the Stanford Cardinal. Trevor Haskins leads the team in hits, runs scored, extra base hits with 9 doubles and 11 home runs. Leads the team in RBIs and home runs as well. He's got 34 RBIs and 11 home runs on the season, and he will be facing the left-handed pitcher Jack Meek on the mound for the UC Davis Aggies. First pitch in there for a ball. Jack Meek Jr., lefty out of Buena Park, California. Last appearance was April 13th and went .2 innings against UC Irvine in relief. And that a high fly ball to left center field, bouncing off the wall. Rounding first is Haskins. He's going to go for 2. And sliding into second, a leadoff double for Trevor Haskins in the Stanford Cardinal.
Trevor Haskins this entire season has dominated the slugging category. Had a .627 slugging percentage. Now make it 10 doubles on the year as well. So that puts him in the double digits with doubles, home runs, RBIs, and one of the best averages on the team at .347. This senior has been the commanding force for the Stanford Cardinal, and there he is leading off, already putting himself in scoring position. Now again, too, this is also the first start for Jack Meek, so this is very uncharted territory for Meek. He's only pitched 4 innings, and to do it now against an ACC opponent is a very tough ask for the junior.
Showing bunt is Timo Becerra, and you mentioned Jack Meek. I'm glad you did. Average ERA 9.64 on the year. Just 5 appearances coming into today, all of them in relief, as you mentioned, and a bunt popped up, picked up by Meek. What a play from the number 1, and the pitcher does the work himself.
That's a fantastic play. Great awareness by Meek, immediately moving up ahead the second he noticed that ball was up in the air. Great reaction time, great speed by Meek. And if that one dropped, that could have got into a dangerous territory right there where that would have been a tough play to make over to first. So a great grab by Meek. And he just needs plays like that, something to instill confidence in him when you're going into very uncharted territory, especially new as a starter. And I also wonder what Tommy Nicholson's idea is here for Meek, whether he wants to see if he can get 5 innings out of him or if it's going to be more of a bullpen game.
Check swing from Tatum Marsh. Greg Charles down the first baseline is asked and says he went around. So that'll be first pitch strike, 0-1 the count for the freshman out of San Jose, California, Tatum Marsh. Marsh leading the team in batting average, OPS, has the most hit by pitch with 14, and he's got the best on-base percentage of this team with an OBP of .485. He's also tied for third. He's got 43 hits. A great freshman campaign. That one swung right through, swing and a miss.
Yeah, it's not a mistake that the 2 Valley Christian athletes have some of the best averages on the team. Trevor Haskins and Tatum Marsh, both from Valley Christian High School. Tatum Marsh has graduated just last year. And of course, Trevor Haskins is a senior now here at Stanford, so has had 4 years with the Cardinal. But these 2 prospects from San Jose, California really show how good that program is and how quickly Tatum Marsh has developed and sped up with the game at the college level is really impressive.
Pitch inside, taken by Tatum Marsh, and looking like it almost hit Marsh. He just took that all the way. Full count now with 1 on and 1 out. Marsh batting .387 on the year. Stanford has 8 players batting over .300. And that'll tell you everything you need to know. You wonder why that ACC conference record is a little low and a chopper to short. Holding at second is Haskins. Marsh beats out the throw.
That was Alex Govea. That's his first appearance here at the Sunken Diamond. He didn't play in the last one on April 7th. And that was a great routine play. Made a great catch there, just really low with the throw. It makes it a hard gather at first for Johnson. And great speed, too. That's the one thing about Tatum Marsh. He has fantastic speed. So that run over from home plate over to first was much quicker than I imagine Govea expected.
It'll be an error on record here by Govea. So an error on 6 allows Tatum Marsh to reach. And now it'll be Jimmy Nadai, cleanup hitter for the Stanford Cardinal. If you've watched the Stanford Cardinal play in the past few years, you certainly know Jimmy Nadai out of Sydney, Australia. Taking that one high and outside, second on the team in runs scored, and tied for second in extra base hits. He's got 7 doubles and 9 home runs on the season.
Yeah, one of the big veteran presence for this Cardinal team that was really the biggest appealing factor of this Cardinal team, why a lot of those preseason talks had them really hyped up. At one point, too, they were ranked 14th in the nation. It's because they have a perfect mix of great veteran talent and prodigies at the who are freshmen and sophomores coming in already getting starts. Like we just mentioned already, you know, Tatum Marsh coming in as a freshman, Rintaro Sasaki, you'll see him coming up soon. But then you have these veterans, too, with Jimmy Nadai.
The 3-0 taken all the way. It'll be 3-1 now to Nadai.
This is where it could get a really interesting for Meek. You had a possible situation where you could already had 2 down here in the bottom of the first. Now there's runners on second and first, only 1 out still.
Runners go. Nadai with a long shot to left field. Going back to the wall and can't get to it is Wooldridge. Jimmy Nadai with a 3-run shot.
Jimmy Nadai, home run number 6 on the year. And that's a dangerous slugger to give him one right down the middle. Nadai, perfect read on that one. With runners in scoring position at second and first, already 3-0 for the Cardinals.
The bats are rolling. Jimmy Nadai.
And that's what I mentioned, how this whole inning changed with that error for UC Davis. You can't afford those in a matchup versus an ACC opponent. You could have a situation where it was 2 outs, but then instead, you have a 1-out situation with 2 runners on base, and that just set up perfectly for Nadai.
This will bring up Brady Reynolds. First pitch hit to deep left center. Chasing are both Woolbert and Wooldridge. Woolbert can't get to it. Woolbridge picks it up, rounding second and going to third. Sliding in safely is Brady Reynolds.
The speed of Reynolds. You could tell once he got past first, he had full intentions of going third as he rounded that second base. And that's one of the new faces that UC Davis has yet to face so far this year, Brady Reynolds. And what a big-time opponent that they have to go against now. He's batting at .339 on the year, 7 home runs, and 25 RBIs, and now add a triple onto it as well.
That his second triple of this 2025 campaign. Brady Reynolds keeps things going here for the Stanford Cardinal.
And that's the big thing about the Stanford Cardinal. We mentioned how big of a slugging team this is. A lot of extra bases that they get on the hits.
Rintaro Sasaki takes the first pitch inside. 1-0 the count. The freshman has been quite the standout here for the Stanford Cardinal, starting and playing first base. Second in the team in RBIs with 30. He gets walked the most of anybody on the team as well, with 17 coming into today. And Jack Meek's going to have a conference with his catcher Acosta. Riley Acosta out there for a chat on the mound. A tough start here for the lefty, Jack Meek.
Yeah, it's no mistake that Sasaki gets walked so much. We knew how deadly of a player he was when he was coming in, again, setting high school records over in Japan. 140 career home runs, setting the Japanese high school record. And he hasn't really gotten that slugging going here this season. Only 5 home runs. I imagine people would have expected him to be much more of a leader in that category. And his average has definitely dropped since the Cal series. But a player that you know at some point, he's going to get things tuned up.
Still a multi-homer game on March 15th versus Duke, including a walk-off 3-run home run to hand Stanford an 11-1 run rule victory.
Got to see that one live in person. That was crazy.
It was a great one. He was also 2025 Baseball America Preseason National Freshman of the Year. Quite the recruit that Stanford Cardinal have nailed down here, and that one swung all the way through. And that 2-2.
That Duke series was the big series for Sasaki. Sasaki had no home runs up to that point, and we were talking about it throughout the entire game. We know at some point Sasaki was going to break through. He got his first, and once he got that first one, it felt like a weight was off his back, and he immediately blasted off for 2 more in that series as well.
Sasaki does what he needs to do there to stay alive, fouls it off. It'll still be 2-2 the count. Still just 1 out here in the bottom of the first inning. Brady Reynolds on third. Sasaki up to the plate with 1 on, 1 out, and 2-2 the count. Taking all the way, and a good eye from Sasaki.
That's a really good take. In a 2-2 count with 2 strikes already, that's really great discipline from Sasaki. But again, we're talking about the player who's been walked the most on the Stanford Cardinal team. That comes with great discipline.
Full count. Here's the pitch. Again, doing what he needs to do to stay alive as Sasaki fouls that back. It'll remain 3-2.
Sasaki got really ahead of that one. As that one tipped away, Sasaki just kind of a little deceived there by the off-speed pitch, but still staying alive. Great contact to keep it a 3-2.
Here's the pitch, and the hit finds the gap between first and second. Coming in to score is Brady Reynolds, and Rentaro Sasaki has an RBI single.
This is a fantastic start for the Stanford Cardinal team. This is the hitting that they want to show out. This is something, these matchups right here versus a Big West opponent where you are favored, like Stanford Cardinal are today, right? This is perfect for them to get in rhythm, find their hitting, kind of get back to where they were at the beginning of the season. Again, Stanford will not be out of the playoffs. At this point, what you're looking for is, can we start to get here in rhythm where we can make a run?
First pitch fouled off by Charlie Somm, the catcher. Now up to the plate for the Stanford Cardinal, the senior out of Thousand Oaks, California. Also walks a lot. 19 on the season, but he also strikes out quite a bit. Leads the team in strikeouts with 40.
Don't be surprised here if Meek is going to really try to go low here, try to play for that 2-ball and get this inning over with.
High fly ball to center field. Underneath it is Wolbert. And he will put it away for out number 2.
Yeah, got a little too much under that one. That one just skies up and then it gets caught by the wind up in the air, and you can tell it just died off once it got to its high point.
Well, this will bring up the designated hitter, Court McDonald, number 22, the junior at Arlington, Texas. Court McDonald batting .111 on the year, but he missed 21 games from February 21st to March 29th due to injury. So he's just getting himself going. Court McDonald playing a huge role in the Stanford Cardinal offense and defense last year, sliding slowly back into the lineup. Now after his injury, that pitch fouled off 0-2 quickly to Court McDonald.
Court McDonald taking over as designated hitter, and that really went to, for the most part, it was always, Charlie Bates or one of the other infielders who was taking over for that designated hitter spot while McDonald was recovering from his injury. So that average doesn't tell the whole story again. This is someone who is trying to find himself again after a very solid outing last season. Just wants to get back to where he was in 2024.
1-2 the count to the junior out of Texas.
It's worth noting as well, Brandon Larson took a lot of designated hitter spots. As a swing and a miss there from McDonald, and Larson is out. That's a big missing piece there for the Stanford Cardinal.
Well, swing and a miss, and that'll do it. Just one more hitter, and the Stanford Cardinal would have gone through the entire lineup, but the damage is done. The Cardinal post 4 in the bottom of the first. We'll be back shortly for the top of the second. It'll be Howard, Gueva, and Murphy. Welcome back to Sunken Diamond. 4-0 Stanford Cardinal in the lead, and the right fielder Tyler Howard up to the plate for the first time today for UC Davis Aggies. Howard batting .259 on the year, batting .432 in the leadoff role, in which he is in now. Dugan back on the mound for the Stanford Cardinal, and that one looked like it almost hit Howard. Might have hit him off the ricochet off of Somm's glove. Nevertheless, that one in there for a strike, 0-1 the count.
Yeah, that was a very close call, but UC Davis right now down 4-0. You don't need to panic. They actually had a very good outing for the first inning. They got some runners on base. They put some pressure on Dugan, and that's where they need to build off of it now and see if they can start to chip away at this lead. That's the biggest thing. The problem with a lot of teams is when you're down 4-0 or a big lead like that, they want to get it all back in one swing. That's just not going to be the case. Chip away, play some small ball as we have something tossed out there. It looks like trying to get his grip is Dugan.
Yeah, our home plate umpire, Tommy Caparulo, out to the mound and now showing his speed off as he jogs back quickly behind the plate.
Yeah, Dugan has gone to that bag quite a few times. It feels like he's having trouble right now getting a real grip on the ball and getting the pitches that he wants.
Tyler Howard also has walked a lot, 16 walks on the season, also strikes out a lot, 32 strikeouts. That one, a high fly ball to center field. Back is hot underneath it, and he will retire Tyler Howard.
Great power from Howard, but unfortunately, just hit it in the farthest part of the ballpark, dead right down center field. He'd have to get into the 400 mark to get it out of there. And that just hung up way too much as well, so an easy grab for Hot.
Richard Sr., Alex Gouveia now up to the plate. Transfer out of Modesto Junior College. Having a good season, 22 runs scored. That's enough for first on the team, and he's actually been hit by a pitch the most on the team as well with 11. That one, a good eye outside, want to know the count.
That's an interesting stat line. That's one that you're kind of happy about, but also one that you aren't too happy about either. It means you take a lot of hits, but it also shows that Gouveia is very good at getting on base and fighting through in counts.
That one, a high fly ball popped up, chasing is Becerra at short. He's underneath it, and he'll put it away. That one popped up really high, and a good job by Becerra to track it down.
Yeah, got way under that one. A little too much for Gouveia. He was really trying to golf that one up, and that just hangs up way too high. And those are not the pop flies that you like, the ones right there in the infield. Those are too easy to grab.
Quick 2 up, 2 down, and both of those two batters hitting the second pitch that they see. This will bring up Jackson Murphy, designated hitter for the Aggies. He takes first pitch outside. Jackson Murphy, sophomore out of Fresno, California. Bats left, throws right. Playing in that designated hitter role today, batting 159 on the season in 63 at-bats. Here's the pitch, and a high fly ball driven to center field. Chasing and underneath it is Ethan Hott. That one had some steam on it, but Hott was able to get there. So 3 up, 3 down for Nick Dugan and the Stanford Cardinal, and that does it for the top of the second. Bottom of the second coming up for the Cardinal, it's Ethan Hott. And then back to the top of the order with Trevor Haskins and Timo Becerra. We'll be right back. Bottom of the second inning as we welcome you back to Sunken Diamond on Stanford, California's campus, or Stanford Cardinals campus in Stanford, California. We've got a new pitcher right off the bat here for the UC Davis Aggies. It's Keenan Onzai, the freshman righty. This his 12th appearance on the season.
And it's funny when you say a freshman is coming in, but it's still a little bit more of a veteran presence this season. He's had more appearances this year than our previous pitcher. 11 appearances on the year, 4.96 ERA, and this really shows what the intention was for Nicholson. This is a bullpen game through and through, and Davis is just trying to see who they can really catch fire with.
A pop fly for Ethan Hott as he runs it out, but underneath it was Lee, and that'll do it for Hott. 1 up, 1 down for our brand new pitcher in Onzai, who we mentioned, yes, 12th appearance on the year, has usually come in relief. The most innings he's pitched in a singular game has been 3, 16.1 total on the season, and his last appearance was on the 15th, just 6 days ago. Against Sacramento State, he went 2 innings, gave up 1 hit, and struck out 2 across the 6 batters that he faced. Now to the top of the order for the Stanford Cardinal. This brings up Trevor Haskins with a stand-up double in the first to kick everything off in that 4-run first inning for the Cardinal.
I like the move to Keenan Onzai. You know, this is a good pitcher. 11 strikeouts on the year. He's had a lot of success in his appearances, but tough task. Already down 4-0, and basically just almost like you're starting. You have to face the top of the lineup really to start off your day. And it's a very tough start of the lineup with the Stanford Cardinal.
2-0 now behind in the count to Trevor Haskins. That one will be outside, so 3-0. Expecting Haskins to take all the way here, but you never know with a 3-0 count.
Well, Trevor Haskins is a very smart hitter as well.
Here's a 3-0 taken all the way, and Haskins will draw a walk. Not a leadoff walk. A 2-hole walk for Trevor Haskins. He's got a double and a walk now on the day, and that'll bring up Timo Becerra.
Becerra showed.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, this is where things get dangerous again. You got Trevor Haskins, who's going to be running the bases here at first. And it's where it gets deadly when you get Timo, and then after Timo, you get Tatum, and then this is where Stanford could really put you in a knot.
Heart of the order, as they say. Timo Becerra showed bunt in that first inning and popped out back to the pitcher, to Jack Meek, for the first out of the inning, and he takes the first pitch in there for a strike. 0-1 the count.
Just trying to get a good read here on Anzai.
Anzai checking the runner at first. Haskins has not successfully stolen a base yet in this 2025 campaign. 2 attempts, none successful. That second pitch outside, 1-1 the count now to Timo Becerra.
Now, Stanford in general hasn't been very successful with stealing bases, but it's not due to a lack of speed. It's really how they time out their runs to steal. There's an art to stealing a base outside of just speed. It's all about timing. Can you get it when the pitcher's already in his windup? Because if you're just a second too late or a second too early, that makes all the difference.
Certainly with a righty, makes it a little easier as opposed to Jack Meek, who was a lefty. And the righty in Anzai checks the runner and delivers. Strike, 2-2 the count. A beautiful pitch there from the freshman to Timo Becerra. Becerra batting .346 on the season, batting .410 with runners on base.
And with 26 RBIs on the year.
Here's a pitch and finds the hole. Becerra up the middle. Haskins will hold up at second as Becerra gets his first hit of the game. Timo Becerra right up the middle for a single.
A great read from Becerra, got ahead of that one. A lot of pitches thrown right dead center into the zone from Anzai. And sooner or later, Becerra, if that was going to continue to happen, he was going to catch up to one. That's some very good patience from Becerra. He was just waiting it out. Saw a couple pitches that he would have liked, to swing at, but he just knew it's going to come back around to me at some point.
2 on, 1 out for Tatum Marsh, batting third in the lineup today for the Stanford Cardinal, playing left field. Marsh reached first on an error by the shortstop back in the first inning and then ended up scoring on Brady Reynolds' 3-run shot, on Jimmy Nadai's 3-run shot.
And that was a huge error from UC Davis. I emphasized it when it happened, but it really had a big-time effect on that first inning where it was looking like for a split second they could have got out of it after the first double on the leadoff.
Big swing and a miss from Tatum Marsh. And you're right, Alejandro, when you play a team like Stanford, you know that they're going to hit some extra base hits. You know that they're going to hit some home runs. You have to try to mitigate some of that by making sure if there is a home run, it's got to be a solo shot.
Yep, Stanford is such a good slugging team as that one goes foul that a runner on first could be considered in scoring position with how this team hits deep and especially hits into just the right spots on the field.
So many extra base hits for this team. Marsh with 2 on. Here's the 2-2 in the dirt. 3-2 the count now, and a good at bat from the freshman. Marsh and Sasaki, the 2 freshmen who find themselves regularly in the starting lineup here for the Stanford Cardinal. Tatum Marsh with a 1.06 OPS coming into today. Strike 3 taken. Tatum Marsh goes down looking in a big strikeout from the freshman on the mound. Freshman versus freshman crime right there. And Keenan Anzai gets the better of Marsh.
Yeah, Tatum Marsh, he knew too the second that pitch went into the zone. He had no complaints about it. He just knew he got deceived. And a great pitch from Anzai, big time pitch too. 2 outs now, changes the complexion of this entire inning. But this is a dangerous hitter again with Nadai.
Jimmy Nadai, last time he came up, runners were on first and second base. And he hit a 3-run home run to give the Cardinal a 3-0 lead before they added one more before the end of the bottom of the first. And Jimmy Nadai now comes back up to the plate here in the second inning for his first time facing Anzai, who will check the runner at second base. Back quickly is Haskins. 1-1 the count now to Nadai. Anzai doing a good job generally of getting ahead of these batters. Something you just have to do. You can't be pitching from behind against the Stanford Cardinal team. Nadai finds the hole between first and second. Rounding third is Haskins. He'll come in to score. Stopping at second is Becerra, and Jimmy Nadai now has an RBI single.
I didn't like the read either from Howard. I would have liked to have seen him take a shot at least to try to see if he could get that one at home. He tried to throw 2-second, but that was a smart move as well by the runners. Just halt right there and stop right at second base. Don't need to take the risk. Don't need to get the out or end the inning. Take the 5-0 lead.
Exactly. No need to be greedy in this situation. Now, Brady Reynolds hitting the 5th spot today for the Stanford Cardinal, playing right field. He walked in the first and comes up again now with 2 on and 2 outs.
What an outing it is for Jimmy Nadai. That's now 4 RBIs on the day already for Nadai. That puts him on 33 on the year.
Such high pitch counts already for both UC Davis Aggies pitchers. Already at 20 now is the relief pitcher, Keenan Anzai. 1-0 the count to Brady Reynolds. We're talking about extra base hits. Brady Reynolds plays a big role in that. 8 doubles, now 2 triples. And in terms of home runs, 7 home runs on the year. Brady Reynolds having quite the year at the plate. 2-1 the count now, 2 outs, 2 on.
Quite the year indeed for Reynolds. This is his first time too facing the Aggies, as I mentioned before, so big time hitter that they haven't seen too much on before, as he gets a nice base hit there.
Reynolds finds the gap in right center. Coming in to score is Becerra. And Brady Reynolds has himself an RBI single.
And the cycle continues for the Cardinal. Just great small ball play in this inning. So different from the one that they had in inning 1, where it was a lot of slugging, big time hits, doubles, a triple, in the first inning. But now in the second inning, they've gone a little bit more like the Kansas City Royals back in 2015. Small ball hitting, singles, maybe a double here and there, but it's always just chipping away and just rotating the bases continually. And they've done it now with 2 outs.
That's right, with 2 outs. Stanford Cardinal putting on a rally here. 6-0, 2 on, 2 out. Runner is at the corners. Reynolds at first, Jimmy Nadai at third, as he went 1-3 there on Reynolds' single to right center field. And the Cardinal are just finding the holes. And this brings up Rintaro Sasaki. He had an RBI single in the first, and he takes that first pitch in for a strike. Second one here outside, 1-1 the count. Now to Rintaro Sasaki.
And don't be surprised if Sasaki's going to be a little patient here. Make sure he gets the pitch that he really wants. At this point, with runners on the corners and the rally that Stanford is on, he has all the advantage at this point.
Sasaki with a high fly foul ball, but that one, it had some power and it had some height to it. Just underneath it and just ahead of it was Sasaki, but what a beautiful swing that was.
My goodness. I think that went through a cloud right there. That one got really high for Sasaki. That's the power that he brings. You see it in his swing. And even in just a normal foul ball that just went off to the right side, you could hear the sound off of the bat.
Sometimes on day games, there will be a grill out there by the Stanford Cardinal bullpen and get extra points as the runner goes. Now caught in a throwdown, and that'll be it. So Rintaro Sasaki, he'll have to pick it up where he left off. That's how the inning will end for the Stanford Cardinal, but they add 2 to the tally, 6-0. Cardinal in the lead as we head to the top of the third. It'll be Everett Johnson, the 9-hitter, who will take his first at bat, followed by Wilbert and Acosta as we head to the top of the third. Welcome back, top of the third, as Nick Dugan returns to the mound for the Stanford Cardinal, takes his final warm-up pitch. And we'll kick it off. Everett Johnson batting 9th for the Aggies will get his first plate appearance of the day today, and he will face, of course, Nick Dugan on the mound here. Everett Johnson, freshman, playing first base, batting 200 on the season. This just his 7th start in the 14 now games that he has appeared in this year. This will be his 26th at bat total of his young freshman career.
And one of those starts was as a designated hitter versus Stanford. So he has seen Dugan before. And while in that last game, Johnson had 2 at-bats and no hits in that game, have to see how he can make some adjustments here. That's the biggest thing. UC Davis, while losing that game 4-0, as that one goes outside the zone for a ball, UC Davis had hits. They left 7 runners on base. They just couldn't capitalize with runners on scoring position. They already left a couple runners on base in the first inning. Can they capitalize?
Not only that, but back on April 7th, Stanford scored 2 in the first, 2 in the second. Then Davis actually held them to the big goose egg for the rest of the game. They just couldn't add any tally to their own part of the scoreboard, and that left it with a 4-0 score. Both teams with 4 hits on the day.
Stanford with 4 hits and 4 runs. They kept it very quality over quantity, you could say, but in a game of baseball, you want both. You know, you can't just accept the quality, because that could just mean a 3 for 3, and that's still not enough on the scoreboard sometimes.
It's certainly efficient. You can't get more efficient than that. Literally 100%. A beautiful pitch there taken.
Now you just got to add the quantity with it as well. Want to add a little bit more than 4 hits, and Stanford has already done so to this point.
That off speed there from Dugan just missing, so it'll be full count now to the freshman Everett Johnson. Hard ground ball just past third base, and Haskins, and that'll be a leadoff single for the freshman Everett Johnson. A great hit to find that hole between the shortstop and third baseman, right between Becerra and Haskins, and a great job there from the freshman to get on base.
That's a great start for the Aggies. Finally, something to get some rhythm here in the top of the third. You always like that leadoff hitter getting on base. And now here you go, back to the top of the order. So a couple players who have already seen Dugan for the first time now get a rematch.
Wolbert flied out to center field in his first at-bat. He stands in now, off speed, misses. And we've seen Dugan on the mound for Stanford go through some phases, we'll say, where that off speed has been in full control, and other times where Dugan seems to really not have a handle on that off speed pitch right there.
Yeah, the first inning was his biggest struggle. That was a lot of pitches that went awry. He hit a batter with the pitch. A lot of pitches went into the dirt, but he kind of tuned it up now these last 2 innings.
That pitch hit hard to second, going for 2. There's 1 and 2. A 4-6-3 double play, Nadai to Becerra to Sasaki. And just like that, the base path is clear.
The classic 4-6-3 can never go wrong, and that was just great play by Nadai. Perfectly positioned. He didn't even have to move. That ground ball went right to him. And Becerra did a great job running to second, getting there quick, and Sasaki was already perfectly in position. So that was quite literally how you would love to always have a double play ball set up for you.
Yeah, and a hard hit ball too, which certainly helps for the double play ball.
Makes it get there quicker.
So nobody on, 2 outs, and that first pitch just missing to Riley Acosta. Acosta playing behind the plate. Catcher here for the Aggies, grounded out to shortstop in the first. Now faces Dugan for the second time today.
That was a big double play ball, though. You just had your leadoff runner get on base. You reached the top of the lineup. It looks like UC Davis, maybe you can start building something here. That was a really tough double play to get.
Certainly possibly game-changing, but now on a high fly ball, will it find the gap in center field? It does not. Ethan Hott showing the wheels that he's got out in center field, and that'll do it. So after a leadoff single, grounding into a double play and then a fly out to center field will do it for the Aggies. They'll have to wait until the 4th inning to see if they can tally any runs. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd, and Rotaro Sasaki, Charlie Somm, and Court McDonald are due up for the Stanford Cardinal. Welcome back to the bottom of the 3rd. 3rd inning and 3rd pitcher for the Aggies, as this will be number 17, Rowan Barnes, redshirt junior, the righty out of Atherton, California. And for those not familiar with California or Bay Area geography, we are essentially in Atherton, for lack of a better term. So homecoming for Rowan Barnes as he makes his 17th appearance of the season. His most recent one just 2 days ago on the 19th at CSU Bakersfield. Came in as relief for 0.2 innings. First pitch popped up behind the plate. Chasing is Acosta and Johnson underneath it. The freshman gets there, and we didn't even get the chance, or I didn't even get the chance to say it was not Sasaki. That was Charlie Somm leading it off for the Stanford Cardinal, but nevertheless, a fly out or a pop out in foul territory for the catcher himself. and that'll bring up Court McDonald, the designated hitter for the Stanford Cardinal.
Doesn't matter who the batter is, that's exactly how you like to start an inning for Barnes. 1 pitch, 1 out. Keep it efficient. That's a great first pitch to keep it in rhythm. You can tell Stanford has been trying to be patient on that first pitch. They really haven't been attacking that first pitch into the zone, so Barnes kind of left it out there, just not able to get good contact with that.
In for a strike taken by Court McDonald. 1-1 the count now.
So I wonder how Barnes is going to adjust, because yes, Stanford has been patient with them. They've been getting their big time hits later in the at-bat. So can Barnes try to be aggressive, see if he can get ahead of these counts, and then put it in a situation where Stanford is kind of forced to swing, and then maybe they don't get the contact on the barrel that they like.
Righty versus lefty, that one missing outside. Here's the 1-1. That one in there for a strike. 1-2 the count. Nice looping ball in there.
Nice pitch
for Barnes.
Really good start for Barnes right now. This is where you want to be, ahead of the count, already 1 out as well. He continues to test the batters as McDonald's swinging on that one. But Barnes has had some good outings this year. While he didn't have too long of an outing versus CSU Bakersfield, 16 appearances on the year, 2.70 ERA in 13 innings pitched. Something that he can build off of as he continues to go.
That one just missing. It'll be full count.
Oh, good take by McDonald. For a second, it looked like that Osby was going to try to drop into the zone last second. McDonald, great eye.
McDonald struck out in his first at-bat. This time he hits a line drive to right center field. It finds the gap off the wall. Rounding first is McDonald. He'll head for second. And a stand-up double for Court McDonald.
Stanford Cardinal with the slugging today. So many extra bases in this one. That was inches away from actually getting over the wall. Very strong hit, perfect on the barrel, great timing. And really, McDonald switches the whole standing for this inning again. Here we go, Stanford again with the runner in scoring position. And this is where the line can just continue to progress.
The dugout was fired up for Court McDonald on that hit, and you love to see that. McDonald coming back from an injury, getting a big hit right there, and the dugout really pumped for him.
That's a great hit for McDonald, only his 5th hit of the year. He's been looking for that, batting at a 111 on the season. He's just trying to find his rhythm. What an opponent. This is a perfect setup for him.
Yeah, that was his first hit since his injury. We mentioned that he missed 21 games from February 21st to March 29th. The last hit that he got was on February 17th. He's been hitless since returning, so that breaking the hitless streak, and the bench pumped for him about that. And now bring up Ethan Hott.
Oh, they say he swung there. Ethan Hott striking out on the check swing. That was really a close call, actually, I have to say. That was a tough call to make from the ump at first base. But that's a good pitch. Really good by Rowan. Doesn't get out of control. He actually kept the aggressiveness, which I liked. A lot of the pitches that you saw in the first 2 innings for UC Davis, you could tell once they kind of allowed some hits to go, they started playing a little bit more conservative and they got behind the counts. I like the aggressiveness that Rowan is keeping right here. Keep attacking that zone as you got Trevor Haskins now, who's 2 for 2 on the day.
Haskins immediately hit by that first pitch. So Haskins at 1 for 1 with a walk and a hit by pitch now on the day. First base was open, so he'll head over there. 2 on, 2 outs, and
that's now twice Haskins has gone on the base without getting a hit. Walk and hit by pitch. That one just got really out of control by Barnes. You could tell the second it left his hand to it, you could see the visual reaction from him as that pitch got released.
And a 2-out rally in the second allowed the Stanford Cardinal to post their 2 runs. 2 outs now with 2 on.
Remember, they did that with 2 outs as well.
Timo Becerra, the shortstop, now up to the plate. Popped up to the pitcher in an attempted bunt in the first inning and singled in the second. 1 for 2 on the day is the shortstop. Becerra takes inside and low for a strike. 1-1 the count to Timo Becerra, the senior out of Clovis, California. having a great year at the plate. Becerra batting .352. That one also taken in for a strike. 1-2 the count.
Becerra did not think that one was going to land into the zone.
A theme with the heart of the Stanford Cardinal lineup. Becerra, as I mentioned, batting .352, but batting .419 with runners on. That one lightly hit to short. Gavea to Lee to end the inning there, and that'll do it. So the first scoreless inning posted by the Stanford Cardinal. Now they get the goose egg in the bottom of the third. It remains 6-0, and the Aggies will try to claw their way back into this in the top of the fourth. Stick with us, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Sunken Diamond. Top of the fourth inning, Nick Dugan back on the mound for the Stanford Cardinal. He'll face Braden Woolridge. Woolridge hitting in that 3 spot for UC Davis. He had a double in the first inning, and now he'll come back up to the plate for the first time here now in the top of the fourth.
We were just talking in the break about Dugan and the performance he's having. This is one that he really needed. Really a little bit of struggle here in the first inning, but great 2 through 3 for Dugan.
First pitch finds the hole. Rounding first is Woolridge as the ball finds the back of the wall, and Woolridge, what a day for him so far. 2 appearances and 2 doubles. Braden Woolridge with a leadoff double to start things off for the Aggies.
And if that's not a sign of an announcer's jinx, I don't know what is. I really was hyping up Dugan, and he has done a great job, helped kind of lead up into that double in the third inning. That first pitch, though, Dugan has been very aggressive on the first pitch and ambushed immediately. Great hit. I love it for UC Davis, and this is what they need to get going here. Again, runner in scoring position. You can't leave him stranded like you did back on April 7th.
That the third hit of the game for the Aggies. 2 of them now belong to Woolridge. And there's the fourth one. Woolridge rounding third. He'll hold up there as the arm of Marsh in left field holds him up. A first pitch single for Jason Hansen moves the runner over. Runners at the corners now, and the Aggies threatening with 2 on and nobody out.
Aggressive, too. This has been a real change of a formula here for the Aggies. They have become extremely aggressive on that first pitch. First pitch swinging both times now, and very successful with the grounders.
Dugan with 3 innings pitched and 4 hits allowed, 1 strikeout across 13 batters faced. Still a low pitch count, just 39 pitches. Now finding himself in a jam. That one fouled back and away, 0-1 the count. No outs, 2 on, and Dugan will have to work his way out of this.
I like it for Dugan. Continue to test the hitter, see if Lee can get a good contact here, because Dugan did a great job in that third inning when they got the first leadoff hit. He forced it into a double play with a low pitch. And already getting ahead of the count. That's exactly what you need for Dugan. This is a big situational moment for Dugan. This is where this bullpen needs practice. How can they handle these big moments? Runners at the corners, no outs in the inning.
Ryan Lee, second baseman, standing in for UC Davis. That one high and outside, just missing 1-2 the count. Now a good take from Ryan Lee in a pitcher's count. Still a pitcher's count here for Dugan, 1-2. Runners on the corners. He'll check the runners and deliver. High, and a good job behind the plate there by Charlie Somm to keep that.
What a grab by Somm, immediately reading that one going high. Almost jumping up for that one. Had that gone away, that was, and especially with how far back home plate is with the whole back line, that was going to get a run in.
2-2. Here's the pitch. Lee taking and possibly exaggerating, but nevertheless, that one called a ball. 3-2 the count. So we go from an 0-2 count all the way to full count. A good job from Ryan Lee in the batter's box. He struck out in his first at bat in the first. Now comes up for the second time here in the fourth. Facing Dugan for the second time in this game as well. 3-2, 2-1, nobody out, and swinging through it is Ryan Lee. Dugan got ahead in the count. He fell behind, and then he worked back to get that strikeout, and a big one at that for Nick Dugan.
You can tell by Lee's swing there. That was an off-speed pitch. Lee was extremely ahead of that one. that just shows Lee was anticipating a fastball. He was guessing the pitch. He thought that was going to go into the zone ahead of time. So he already had his decision made that he was going to swing there.
Second strikeout of the day for Dugan, and that'll bring up right fielder Tyler Howard. Howard flied out to center field in the second. He now comes up with 2 on and 1 out. First pitch foul backwards. Quick 0-1 for Nick Dugan. Almost a copy image of what happened in that Lee at bat. First pitch foul back, 0-1 the count.
No kidding. I think that landed in the exact same spot where that went right behind.
Dugan checks Wooldridge at third. Here's the pitch. Swinging a bouncing ball. That'll be foul. Quick 0-2 once again. Dugan to Howard.
Perfect for Dugan. Get ahead of the count. Now you have all the control. All the momentum is on your side here at the mound. You have the freedom to do any pitch you want, and Howard now has the pressure on him where he feels something in the back of his head where he has to swing here if it's close to the zone.
Howard with a bouncing ball up the middle. Here's 1. There's 2. No, the throw offline to Sasaki. Nadai picked up the ground ball, stepped on second, and went for the double play, but the throw high and away brings Sasaki off first base, and Tyler Howard will reach safely. Not only that, but the run scores, and Braden Wooldridge, he will come in.
Well, that was almost a perfect double play setup. It worked again for Nadai. Nadai, great job running under that one and just taking it himself right to second base. But the pressure of the runner made that throw go high and away. That's a big miscue, a big error for the Stanford Cardinal that you don't really see too often from this infield.
Absolutely. A slow hit ball to Nadai. And as you said, then the pressure of the runner forced him into an error. Good job from Tyler Howard to really run that out.
That's why you love to run it out every single time. That's why they always emphasize as a coach, finish the play through, because you never know.
Shortstop Alex Gouveia up to the plate, pickoff play at first. That throw a little offline as well, but handled by Sasaki. Alex Gouveia popped out to shortstop in the second inning. Gouveia hitting .250 on the year, hitting .236 with runners in scoring position, and he's got with runners on base, and he's got 1 on and 2 outs right now. Gouveia, redshirt senior, mentioned he was a transfer out of Modesto Junior College. Knows how to get on base. He's been hit by a pitch and has scored the most runs of anybody on this Aggies team with 22. 1-1 the count. Gouveia swinging a high fly ball to center field. Back is hot underneath it, and he will put that away. So that will be it for the Aggies in the top of the 4th, but they post 1, and they get 1 back. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th. Stanford Cardinal will head to the plate. It will be Marsh, Nadai, and Reynolds. Stick with us, and we'll be right back.
Aggies.
Welcome back to Sunken Diamond, bottom of the 4th. Sarah Ash here alongside Alejandro Flores, and here is Alejandro Flores to take you through the rest of the game.
Thank you, Sarah. And we are now moving on to the 4th pitcher for UC Davis as Carter Spates is taking over at the mound. Has a .635 ERA, 17 innings where he's made an appearance. And that's now 4 innings, 4 pitchers for UC Davis as they're down 6-1 here in the bottom of the 4th. He's going to be facing Tatum Marsh, a very tough opponent for his first pitch, as that one goes high for ball 1.
Marsh breached in the first inning off of an error by the shortstop Gouveia and struck out in the second.
As Marsh is going to bounce that one foul off of the left side. So Tatum Marsh still looking for his first hit of the day. Again, a dangerous hitter here is the freshman. Hit 3 home runs on the year, 8 doubles, really a big-time slugger for someone who's really only a freshman. That one is a soft roller. Marsh is going to be able to get there, and he is safe. The perfect hit for Tatum Marsh dies off just before it gets to third, and Tatum Marsh with his first hit of the day.
Oh, that's a tough one for Hansen at third. That ball was moving so slow, and he got there as quick as he possibly could, barehanded it. But Marsh has some speed on him, so just kind of too tough for Hansen to gun down Tatum Marsh down at first, and credit to Tatum Marsh, who really did grind that out. He earned that hit.
Tatum Marsh earns the leadoff hit and now goes to Jimmy Nadai. Jimmy Nadai has had a home run and a single in this game. 4 RBIs on the day for Nadai. And already stealing is Marsh. Great throw from home. And that is an out. Stanford's woes with stealing bases continues as Acosta gets that one to Gouveia. And 1 down now in the bottom of the 4th.
Tatum Marsh, 1 for 5 on stolen bases coming into today. Make it 1 for 6. He did not get a good jump. We saw the speed that he has going down that first base line, and he just didn't get a good jump off that first base bag.
So that changes the complexion of everything as Nadai sends the one high and away, foul to the left side. Puts him in an 0-2 count, and already 1 down now in the bottom of the 4th with no runners on for Nadai.
Yeah, I like the aggressive nature, though, to send Tatum Marsh. Why not? You're up by 5 runs. There's no outs. You've got somebody on. Let's really try to finish this game off. I like the aggressiveness from the Stanford Cardinal. It doesn't pay off, but I like it.
As that one goes back behind, and now you also wonder, had Marsh still been on base with a pitch like that,
Absolutely.
then he would have got to second anyways. But Nadai now gets to start to work back from behind the count here in a 1-2. And that's the biggest thing for the Stanford Cardinal. With a lead like this, comfortable lead at this point right now, a chance to maybe improve on some things that you've been struggling with all season. That one right there, the steal category, has been something that they have yet to really capitalize on this season. The 1-2 swung on and missed. That one rolls into the dirt, and Nadai is going to be out. So 2 down now in the bottom of the 4th with a great pitch going low and away for Carter Spates.
Carter Spates with a good start here. 2 up, 2 down. I mean, he gave up the single, but hey, 2 up, 2 down is 2 up, 2 down, right? Base is clear, but none other than Brady Reynolds up to the plate. This certainly will test Spates.
And so far, not too much good contact from any Cardinal either. That's the biggest thing that a lot of these Davis pitchers have been struggling with, is that one goes outside the zone for ball 1. Even the hit from Tatum Marsh was a slow roller to third. It wasn't a lot of power behind it, and that's the biggest thing in these first 3 innings for the Cardinal. A lot of doubles, a home run added on, as well as a triple, but a lot of power behind the hits. So far, they've yet to find it in the bottom of the 4th, as that one drops for ball 2.
Spates, just a sophomore out there on the mound. He's made a lot of appearances this year, but still only 17 total innings pitched. This is really good experience for the young pitcher out there for the Aggies.
Tough matchup with Brady Reynolds as he sends that one high down to the wall, and Brady Reynolds sends it out. The second home run of the day for the Cardinal puts them up at 7-1, and Brady Reynolds tees off.
8th home run of the year for Brady Reynolds. We talk about those extra base hits, and home runs certainly are a part of it. Brady Reynolds, what a day so far. A triple, an RBI single, and now a solo shot. Just a double short of the cycle now is Brady Reynolds.
Something to keep an eye on here as we're just in the bottom of the 4th. Also something to keep an eye on that could be dangerous for Reynolds possibly getting that cycle. The Stanford Cardinal lead 7-1, and again, the rule is if by the 7th inning the Cardinal lead by double digits, this game will be over. And they will end it sooner than 9. Rintaro Sasaki out to bat, and a swing and a miss for Sasaki. Rintaro Sasaki had a single RBI in his first at bat and struck out looking in his second one in the bottom of the 2nd. The 0-1 turns into 1-1 as that ball goes low into the dirt. So right when we were talking about Carter Spates having a lot of success here with 2 outs, only 1 batter that he had to put away to end the inning. Big time home run, and that brings it back to a 6-run lead for the Cardinal.
Certainly, but we talk about the fact that, I mean, he did get Jimmy Nadai, and imagine Jimmy Nadai had reached, obviously, that's a 2-run home run. The thing with the Stanford Cardinal, we talk about their slugging, we talk about their power. It's honestly the same with the softball team. It's not a matter of if they're going to go yard. It's kind of a matter of when, and you just want to make it hurt as little as you can when they do. And so solo shot, hey, we'll take it.
Sasaki lines that one straight down into center field, and Wolbert is there to make the catch. So the Cardinal put up 1 in the bottom of the 4th inning, and they take a 7-1 lead, now moving to the 5th inning. Welcome to the top half of the 5th inning. The Stanford Cardinal leading 7-1 over the UC Davis Aggies. And still at the mound is Dugan. Right now at a pitch count of 51, and he's having a great outing so far. Now looking ahead to the future for the Stanford Cardinal, Wake Forest, they'll have a series here for the weekend at home. That's going to be the last home ACC series for the Stanford Cardinal. And they then host Sacramento State here at home, and then they go back onto the road versus Boston College.
That's right, a big one. I mean, we talked at the top about Stanford's recent woes in the ACC. They started ACC conference play strong in the first 2 series. They won 5 games out of 6, and then since then it has been rough. Swept by Cal, Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Notre Dame, and dropped 2 out of 3 to Clemson. So these midweek games have been good resets. They've won these midweek games, but this needs to be a full reset to return to ACC play.
And again, those ACC games, very important for Stanford. If they get those wins, maybe they can work themselves up into the 8 or the 9 spot in the conference, and then they do get a bye week. They don't get themselves put into a single elimination game, which is dangerous in the game of baseball. First pitch swinging for Murphy, and that's already a first out of the inning in the top of the 5th. Nice little put out at third to Sasaki. Throw from Nadai. And now up to bat, Everett Johnson. Everett Johnson had a single in the 3rd. He was left stranded in that 3rd inning as well. So with already 1 away in the top of the 5th, Johnson trying to get some momentum back for the Aggies. Dugan aggressive again on the first pitch, sends that one down the zone for a strike.
Dugan, the junior, season high 5 innings pitched per game. So if he can get through this one, he'll have tied his season high.
That's a strike in the zone, 0-2 count. So Johnson already trailing behind in just his 2nd at bat of the day. Again on the season, 6 hits on the year for Johnson. That one rolls up the middle. Nadai, great grab to Sasaki, and another put out. Another 4-3 put out, and 2 away now in the top of the 5th. The Stanford Cardinal moving through efficiently.
Yeah, well played and well positioned there for Jimmy Nadai. He doesn't get to that if he doesn't do his scouting report and learn, exactly where he should be standing for each batter. He's standing so much closer to second base there. And as the shift was on, he's able to get there, and a good throw to first as well for Jimmy Nadai.
As you can see, the Stanford Cardinal now adjust their defense. They're ready for the pull from Wolbert, the left-handed hitter, who watches that first pitch go and miss the zone for a strike. Wolbert from Petaluma, California. He's leading at the top of the order, batting at a .257 going into this one. Flew out to 7, then he grounded into a double play. This time he grounds one. Great grab and put out. Sasaki gets a lot of action here in the top of the 5th, but a quick 1-2-3 inning, the best inning so far for Dugan. And the Stanford Cardinal hold their 7-1 lead as we now move to the bottom of the 5th. Bottom half of the 5th inning, the Stanford Cardinal leading 7-1 over the UC Davis Aggies. And for the first time tonight, the Aggies have the same pitcher out for another inning. Spates is going to roll in for the 5th as well on the mound. And the Stanford Cardinal, the biggest focal point for this game has been their hitting, especially with the home run hitting and the slugging.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at how they're hitting right now as a team. Stanford hitting .455 on the day, 11 for 22. Pretty incredible statistics right there with runners on. They're batting .385 as a team. With 2 outs, they're batting .429. The bats have been going for the Stanford Cardinal.
And Charlie Sum is going to be the first one to lead off for the Cardinal. He's the one who's yet to find any success so far at the plate as that first pitch goes into the zone for a strike.
Psalm and Hott, the two remaining players in the Stanford Cardinals starting lineup to not get a hit. Psalm and Hott both 0 for 2. Psalm will try to change that now.
Psalm with a swing and a miss there, already down 0-2, so not a great start for Psalm. Psalm, we've said his name a lot too as he works behind the plate at the catcher spot, and a lot of plays he's made on the defensive side have really helped Stanford hold this 7-1 lead. He's now trying to translate it to the offensive side as Psalm watches that pitch go far inside for ball 1. So a 1-2 count for Charlie. Now the Stanford Cardinal coming off of a series that they hosted Notre Dame, where they got swept in that one in a heartbreaking loss that took place on Sunday as Psalm tips that one back and foul. The Stanford Cardinal took the lead going into the 9th inning, and then Notre Dame steals it right back in the top of the 9th. And that again led to another sweep, I should say, in the ACC, where Stanford now has racked up 4 total.
Yeah, another series where one of those games Stanford certainly could have avoided the sweep when they were swept by Cal. The final game in that series was a 1-run win by Cal when they were swept by Virginia. The final game, again, a 1-run difference. That one went to 10 innings, actually. And then you mentioned the Notre Dame game. Game 3, 1 run was the difference.
Just a few plays could be all the difference in the Cardinal season. From them looking 19-16 to something more positive. It's a 3-2 count, and Psalm has now worked back to a full count. Psalm leading off in the bottom of the 5th. Full count pitch is down low for ball 4, and Psalm is walked. So the leadoff hitter for the Cardinal on to first. And this leads to Court McDonald now up to bat.
A good at bat for Charlie Psalm. He leads the team in bases on ball for a reason. That's his 20th walk on the season. He just knows how to get on base.
And Court McDonald had a double in his last at bat. Got that one in the bottom of the 3rd inning. He's batting at a 132 on the year, 3 RBIs. He's yet to rack up a home run. That time he fouls that one straight to the right side for an 0-1 count.
So nice to see him get that double back in the 3rd inning. That his first hit back from injury, and it's always tough to see a player and somebody who was really integral to the Stanford Cardinal team last year kind of be taken out. You never want to see that player taken out by injury, but the bench pump for him with that double, and possibly that gets things going.
And Spate's pitch gets away from him, and now moving over into scoring position. Great movement from the Stanford Cardinal. So Psalm now moves to 2nd, and McDonald in a 1-1 count. Just an out-of-control pitch there from Spates, who's really pitched good to this point, only allowed the home run from Brady Reynolds. As that pitch goes low and out of the zone for ball 2, 2-1 count.
I like that idea to show bunt there for Court McDonald. Why not just try to move the runner over already at 2nd, move him over to 3rd. Stanford not afraid to play small ball.
Swinging on that one, McDonald lines that one up into center field, and this is going to score in a run. McDonald looking to go to 2nd. This is going to be very close. McDonald is safe, and the runner gets home in Psalm. 8-1, my apologies. The lead for the Cardinal.
Well, the throw was in time. It was just a little offline. So Lee, in trying to apply the tag, had to reach over with that left glove hand and then come back to tag McDonald. But it was close enough. We're going to get a replay review. Our umpires are going to take a look at that and make sure it was, in fact, the correct safe call at 2nd.
That was very close to call just by the human eye. Great job working out of center field, though, by Wolbert to get that really right into position at 2nd base and make it a very close call.
And we get a little look over the umpire's shoulder. Always nice. Home plate umpire Tommy Caparulo.
Yeah, it's not the most efficient setup that you would see in most pro leagues. Here at the Sun and Diamond, they got it just right on the outside, close by the stairs. But let's talk about the hitting so far for the Cardinal. A lot of doubles. If he is safe here at 2nd base, that's just another double on the day for the Stanford Cardinal, where they've racked up big time in the slugging category today.
That's right. Court McDonald, if that stands, will have his 2nd double just of the day. Haskins has a double as well, and then we've also got a couple home runs and a triple. Lots of extra base hitting for the Stanford Cardinal.
And that's one thing where going into this game even, we knew this is a category that the Stanford Cardinal actually did not need to improve on so much. It's really a category that they've dominated all season long. Their slugging percentage really good overall as a team, top 10 in the ACC in that category. It's been the pitching that's been their biggest struggle, but they've also found it there as well.
Well, it only takes one game to get teams really back in the groove, and sometimes in these midweek games you've wondered if that win is going to be the one to knock Stanford kind of back into shape and back into focus for ACC play, and this could be the one. It certainly has been the one for Court McDonald to re-find his form after injury. And whether he's safe or not at second, that's been nice to see. You mentioned Stanford and ACC. They're ranked 6th of the 16 teams in terms of altogether batting average, team batting average for the year. Tied with Virginia, actually, with a 301 batting average on the season for the team. And when your team's hitting over 300, that's how you know the bats are really going.
Yes, and that's one thing about the Stanford Cardinal team, where when we just look at their overall season, if you look at that category, you have to imagine Stanford's one of the top teams in the ACC with that batting average. But again, being swept versus 4 ACC opponents, they want to find something where they can really get that defense and offense to balance itself out and have a full, complete game.
Well, as we say a lot, the ACC is just such a strong conference,
yes,
right? You look at the national rankings, Clemson in the ACC ranked number 2, Florida State ranked number 4, North Carolina ranked number 8, and this is in the nation as well. Just a lot of tough competition.
That was the biggest change that we knew going into the season for the Stanford Cardinal. They're moving on from the Pac-12, which disbanded most of its teams, to now the ACC, and that, in the baseball standpoint at least, is a much tougher conference overall, with a lot of top-tier opponents. And it looked like Stanford was about to make a name for itself early on in the season. You know, they got those series win over North Carolina. They swept Duke here at home. And it looked like everything was going the Cardinal way, but it was really that Cal series that you could look at as the turning point of the season. So they want to find that next turning point to flip it back on track.
Looks like our umpires have had enough.
That was a very long time that they spent at the computer there trying to see. So very tough call upcoming. Let's see what it is. He is safe. Another double for Court McDonald, so he gets an RBI double. And this sets up Ethan Hott at the plate with no one out and a runner in scoring position at second. Ethan Hott walking up to the classic, it's getting hot in here. And he's still looking to heat up his bat at this point. 0 for 2 on the day. First pitch swinging and first pitch fouled. It's an 0-1 count.
He flied out or popped out to second base back in the second, and he struck out in the third. This, however, will be his first time facing the fourth pitcher on the mound for the Aggies.
First time against Spates. Spates now in a 1-1 as that pitch almost goes back behind the plate. Great adjustment, though, from Acosta to get there. Ethan Hott batting at a .323 on the year, 16 RBIs. Has a chance to make it 17. That pitch goes outside for ball 2.
We talk about how good this ACC is. 7 ACC teams started the season ranked in the D1 baseball preseason top 25. 7 teams out of 25. That really says a lot about what this ACC conference has in store for the Cardinal.
As Hott takes ball 3, so a 3-1 count, and Spates has really put himself in a tough situation here. In the bottom of the 5th inning with no one out and a runner in scoring position, the 3-1 pitch is down low for ball 4. So after the strike to start the at-bat, 4 balls follow it up, and Hott is walked.
Some action in the bullpen for the Aggies, as it is a true bullpen game, and this might be it for Spates.
You can see a couple pitchers warming up for the Aggies, and a call to the bullpen. And that's going to be the last that we see of Spates. Spates, the only pitcher for the Aggies to this point. to pitch more than 1 inning. It's been quite the bullpen game for UC Davis. They've gone through 4 pitchers to this point. Now they're going to come up with their 5th.
And actually, this will go down in the books as just 1 inning pitched for Spate, since he did not get an out, did not record an out here in this 5th inning. Obviously, he's responsible for those 2 runners on base. But when you look at the lines here, Meek with 1 inning pitched. He was then replaced by Onzai, 1 inning pitched. Barnes then 1 innings pitched, and now Spates with 1 inning pitched. Meek gave up 4 hits, Onzai 3, Barnes 1, and Spates 3.
And now it goes to Max Hippensteel. 2-1 record on the year, 16 innings pitched, allowed 24 hits, 17 runs. And struck out 24 batters, so much more of an experienced pitcher now coming in for the Aggies. Already facing an 8-1 deficit with a runner on second and first. Tough situation for Hippensteel to come into. He has a 9.18 ERA on the year and a 168 whip to this point on the season. This has been a tough outing for the UC Davis pitchers, and especially coming off of a series where they really dominated versus Bakersfield and had a lot of control over that series. It seemed like every single game versus Bakersfield, they continued to improve. They won the first game 3-1, then 5-2, and then 8-2. And UC Davis, just when they looked like they were getting on track and now bringing out their top dogs here versus the Cardinal, facing a big deficit.
Yeah, that was a big sweep at Cal State Bakersfield as well. You mentioned how well they did in that series. That last game, they won 8-2. You said every starter reached safely in that last game, and the 3 pitchers that pitched in that final game of the series combined for a total of 16 strikeouts, and that was a season high for the team in combined strikeouts. Yes, it's a tough game today, but it is against a tough ACC opponent here in the Stanford Cardinal. They'll head to Washington, they'll host Washington State, and then they'll resume their Big West play, hosting Cal State Fullerton. That'll be a big one. Cal State Fullerton tied for 8th right now in the standings, just below UC Davis. It'll be a big conference matchup there, but they can take that conference momentum that they gained at Cal State Bakersfield into Cal State Fullerton.
While Fullerton is overall record right there with UC Davis, Fullerton has been very successful in the Big West, 11-7 on the year, and obviously the history of Cal State Fullerton, everyone knows what that program has brought to the game of college baseball. After Fullerton, they'll then play Sac State and then finish off at Long Beach. First pitch swinging for Haskins, and first pitch foul, 0-1 count.
Yeah, certainly not a weak conference, this Big West conference. I mean, UC Irvine picked to finish 2nd in this conference, and they're sitting 12th in the nation right now. UC Irvine with a 28-9 overall record.
Trevor Haskins skies that one way up high. And a routine pop-up catch is made. Ryan Lee there to make the play. And now 1 away here in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, that's harder than it looks. Good job from Lee to keep an eye on that, stay under it, because that one was carrying and had some height on it as well. And a big, big first out there for the Aggies.
So the leader of the top of the lineup for the Cardinal is down and out. And this leaves Timo Becerra up to bat 1 away here in the bottom of the 5th with the runner on second and first. And this is where it's dangerous for UC Davis. Again, as I mentioned, the Cardinal need to just get to 11 right now currently. And if they can hold an 11-1 lead going into the 7th inning, they can end this game early. Pitch to Timo. Down low for ball 1. So a 1-1 count for Becerra. Timo Becerra 1 for 3 on the day. Has a single, and then he also grounded into a 6-4 double, as that one's going to knock foul. Timo Becerra 1 for 2. 1-2 count. Again, McDonald and Hott are the runners on second and first. Becerra, good eyes. That one goes outside the zone.
That's a veteran take. Yeah, that's a veteran take there from Timo Becerra. Senior. He's hit safely now in 27 of the 34 games this season. He's so consistent, bringing that senior leadership.
Becerra pokes that one right into right field. Short enough to hold the runners, but the bases are loaded with one out here in the bottom of the fifth. Timo Becerra makes himself 2 for 4 on the day, advances runners to second and third. And this sets up the freshman Tatum Marsh in a bases loaded situation. Again, Tatum Marsh, 20 RBIs on the year, batting at a .387 going into this game. And he's 1 for 3 on the day. His most recent at-bat was a single in the fourth. First pitch swinging and first pitch pop-up. Rolling out to right field in the foul territory, and the catch is made. Runners are going to tag up, and this will score in a run. You have to wonder there if it would have been smarter almost for Howard to almost let that one drop foul. Had it drop foul, the runners would have had to stay.
Well, you want to get the out, you want to get the out where they come for the Stanford Cardinal when you're pitching against them. So now you're at the 2-out situation. You got the force at first. It is 1 run, but, Davis is going to have to get their offense going no matter what, whether you hold that 1 run or not, and you never know what's going to happen. Obviously, now Jimmy Nadai up to the plate. It's not somebody you want to put up to the plate with 1 out and 3 on either, so you might as well take them where they come, and a good sac fly there from the freshman.
Jimmy Nadai is having a very successful day today, 2 for 3 with a home run and a single, 4 RBIs counted for to this point. Has a chance to add on more. He's facing an 0-2 count. Nadai at the top of the team, 4 home runs with 10 just behind Trevor Haskins. Nadai in an 0-2 tips that one foul. Interesting connection there with the ball. Felt like he wanted to pull back on that.
Yeah, I don't think that was intentional. That was a check swing that he just left that bat down there a little too long. Ends up rolling foul. Certainly not what he wanted.
So very fortunate for Nadai in an 0-2. On the other hand, Hippensteel reaching a pitch count now of just above 10. That pitch missing the zone to make it a 1-2, so good eye from Nadai. The 1-2. That is laced down into left field. Nadai continues to rack in the runs. Jimmy Nadai now adds a double. Have a day, young man. Jimmy Nadai, just a triple away from the cycle, has a single, a double, and a home run. And now make that 6 RBIs today for Jimmy Nadai, the junior from Sydney, Australia, making an impact.
Well, he hits that cleanup spot for a reason, and he's now the second player who's just 1 hit short of the cycle. And the other one right here at the plate, Brady Reynolds. He's got a triple, he's got a single, he's got a home run. He's a double short of the cycle.
You could say he got the hardest one of the 4 already complete. That triple is always the toughest one to get for his cycle. Brady Reynolds just needs a double, and he will pick up a cycle. The sophomore from Bakersfield, California, batting at a .355 on the year, swings on and misses that one for a 1-1 count.
That's a great off-speed pitch right there. Reynolds way out in front of it, and he knew it about halfway through his swing.
1-1 for Reynolds. Good eye as that one drops right into the dirt for ball 2.
Acosta working hard behind the plate today. A ton of base runners for the Stanford Cardinal team. Acosta having to stay vigilant, keep them on, throw some out. 17 base runners for the Stanford Cardinal team today.
An 11-1 lead. Swing and a miss for Reynolds. Makes it a 2-2, and both of his strikes so far have been swung on and missed. Having trouble timing up Hippensteel in this at bat. This is the first time Hippensteel and Reynolds have gone against each other today. Reynolds a perfect 3 for 3. Swing and a miss. 3 strikes, 3 swinging. And Max Hippensteel puts an end to the bottom of the 5th, but the Stanford Cardinal put on some heavy damage. 4 runs put on in the bottom of the 5th, and they hold an 11-1 lead, moving to the 6th inning. Beautiful sunset at the Sunken Diamond as the Stanford Cardinal having a fantastic outing today. 11-1 the score, and still out at the mound, Nick Dugan. 55 pitches on the night, and he's only allowed 1 run to this point. Dugan with just the outing that he needed.
Dugan tying his season high of 5 innings pitched now. Just an incredible night. You look at his line, 4 hits allowed, just 1 run. He struck out 2, hit 1 batter across the 19 batters that he has faced.
And now facing for the 3rd time, Riley Acosta. Acosta grounded out into 3rd and a pop out into left field in his first 2 at-bats. That happened in the 1st inning and the 3rd. Now here in the top of the 6th. Acosta still looking for his first hit, 0 for 2 on the day. Has a .252 average on the season. And Acosta takes strike 1.
Acosta hits in that 2 spot for Davis, but on the season he's hit .579 in the leadoff position. Certainly likes that leadoff role.
Grounder, great pickup and put out. Timo to Sasaki. And a great 6-3 put out, and the Stanford Cardinal already 1 away here in the top of the 6th.
Well done by Becerra. That was a hard hit ball there by Acosta, but Becerra makes that look easy.
Now Braden Wooldridge up to bat. Wooldridge has been the only Aggie to this point who's had success. 2 doubles. Got it in the 1st and in the 4th. He's also the only runner to be scored in to this point. So Wooldridge has had the only success for the Aggies.
Yeah, just 4 hits on the day for the Aggies. 2 of those belong to Wooldridge in those 2 doubles. The other one belonging to Jason Hansen, who hit a single, as well as the freshman Everett Johnson.
Wooldridge did not play in the first game versus the Stanford Cardinal on April 7th. So a new face facing the Stanford Cardinal today as that pitch into the zone for a strike, so that makes it count 2-1. Dugan was the pitcher for the Stanford Cardinal in the first matchup versus UC Davis on April 7th as that one goes into the dirt for ball 3, so a 3-1 count to Wooldridge. And Dugan pitched 5 innings in that one as well, only allowing 2 hits. No runs allowed and walking 1 batter with 4 strikeouts. He's looking to improve on that and go 6 with this one, as that's a grounder, and Wooldridge continues the hot streak at the plate. He's 3 for 3 on the day.
Back-to-back 3-hit games for Wooldridge. He's coming off a 3-hit game versus Cal State Bakersfield on Sunday just yesterday, and another 3-hit game today. His bat has been absolutely rolling this season, leading the team in batting average, hits, doubles, RBIs, home runs, slugging percentage, and on-base percentage.
He's seen the ball at a different speed right now. So a runner on first for the Aggies. Jason Hansen up to bat. He's 1 for 1 on the day. He was hit by pitch in his first at bat in the 1st and a single in the 4th. Jason Hansen batting at a .270 on the year, facing an 0-1 count. And the pitch from Dugan, just outside of the zone for ball 1. So the Aggies at this point just trying to prevent the run rule. The Cardinal lead 11-1. If they hold that lead through the 7th, they end it after 7. That one skies up into the air, and the catch is made. Jimmy Nadai coming all the way over from second base to grab that one. And now 2 away in the top of the 6th.
Yeah, Sasaki under, but Nada coming over, calling him off, and a good job by the second baseman. Calls him off, gets priority, and puts it away. And that's a gift for Nick Dugan.
It now goes to Ryan Lee. So you have Wooldridge, who's on a hot streak right now, 3 for 3 on the day. On the other hand, Ryan Lee, 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. He's looking for his first big breakthrough. As that pitch finds the zone for strike 1.
Dugan now officially has gone 5.2 innings. That's a season high for him. Great performance on the mound for Dugan. He's had some ups and downs this season.
Swung on, that one dies off just ahead of home plate, and a quick inning for Dugan, setting a season high for him. 6 innings pitched and holding the Cardinal lead at 11-1. Now moving to the bottom of the 6th inning. My name is Alejandro Flores here with Sarah Ash on the ACC Network, and we'll be back for that bottom half of the 6th. Bottom half of the 6th inning here at the Sunken Diamond. Max Hippensteel still at the mound. And leading off for the Stanford Cardinal as we reach the bottom half of the order, Rintaro Sasaki will be leading off. Following Sasaki will be Charlie Sum, Court McDonald, and if it gets to that point, Ethan Hott.
Nice game of fan cornhole in between that half inning there.
Yeah, I was just talking to Sarah about that. Cornhole is not as easy of a game as people make it out to be. It's much tougher to toss those bags right into a really small hole.
Yeah, they're playing that on top of the Stanford dugout, and the players were turned around and pressed up against the bench to try to watch. Nothing like watching some people try to, for some reason, cornhole, very entertaining to watch.
It is very entertaining to watch. Not as entertaining for me to play. Sasaki, first pitch swinging, and first pitch going for a hit. Rintaro Sasaki, that one drops, ambushes the first pitch, and Sasaki gets on first.
I mean, when you talk about power, sometimes you can talk about home runs, or you can talk about a shot like that, an absolute blast of a line drive single for Rintaro Sasaki. My goodness.
Rintaro Sasaki, 2 for 4 on the day. He gets on first, and Charlie Sum now up to bat. 224 average on the year, 16 RBIs, and Sum also swinging on the first pitch. His, though, goes foul.
Sum's reached today. He reached on a walk last inning, but still hitless today. 0 for 2 with a walk.
Sum swung on and missed, so an 0-2 count.
That off-speed tied up Charlie Sum well ahead of it.
It's been the biggest success so far for Hippensteel, too. Even in that last inning, you mentioned that off-speed pitch and how it got ahead of a lot of batters. The 0-2 swung on and missed.
Same pitch.
Same exact pitch. Hippensteel goes with the off-speed and puts away Sum. Now to bat, Court McDonald. He's 2 for 3 on the day. Has had 2 doubles, 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th. Oh, and it looks like it's going to actually be a pinch hitter, Jack Sapien. Now up to bat. Sapien has played in 5 games, has yet to register a hit this year.
Senior getting an at-bat in this game. You love to see it.
And that first pitch goes outside the zone for ball 1.
He's walked and he's struck out. But as you said, no hits on the year for the senior.
The 1-0. Sapien swung on and missed. That's a 1-1 count. Sapien, a 2-time Pac-12 team champion, the senior for the Stanford Cardinal, was a part of the 2022 and 2023 teams that won those Pac-12 championships. He's facing a 1-2 count. Batted a .262 with 7 runs scored and 2 doubles back in 2024. Swung on and missed. Sapien's gonna have to wait a little bit longer for that first hit of the year. Now 2 away in the bottom of the 6th. And now up to bat is Ethan Hott. One of the few Cardinal left who has yet to register a hit to this point. He's 0 for 2 on the day. He was walked in the 5th. So he has been on base, and when he got on base, he did run home all the way. As that one misses the zone for ball 1.
And with Ethan Hott reaching on that walk, that meant that every single Stanford Cardinal in this starting lineup reached base today.
He's now looking to add a hit to it. Hott sends that one over to right field. Tough run under, and a fantastic running grab. Catch made by Tyler Howard, and that ends the bottom of the 6th inning. So the UC Davis Aggies keep this an 11-1 game, and now moving to the top of the 7th. If the Aggies cannot put a run up in this top of the 7th, that will be the game. We'll be back to see how it all plays out. Top of the 7th inning, and the Stanford Cardinal 1/2 inning away from ending this one, and they're going to leave it into the arm of Dugan. They're going to keep him there at the mound. So Dugan already, he's set his season high with 6 innings complete here today. He has a chance to throw a 7-inning complete game.
That's right, and huge for the junior. 6 inning pitched, 5 hits allowed, 2 strikeouts, no walks. And this is a pitcher who's, like we said, had his ups and his downs already this season. When you look at Nick Dugan, of course, he struggled against Santa Clara, just 0.1 innings pitched. After starting that game, he was taken out early, gave up 4 hits, 1 walk, and had 1 strikeout against Santa Clara. That was just 2 starts ago. The most recent one was against UC Davis. That one he went 5 innings, so the season high prior to this was also against Davis. But there have been some ups, there have been some downs, and this is a huge confidence booster for the junior on the mound right now.
And a big confidence booster there is that first pitch swung on and missed by Tyler Howard. Now Dugan, while he hasn't found too much success this season, he's had success before. He was an all-regional team back in 2023 for the Stanford Cardinal, and he's ahead now in an 0-2 count. And he was a part of that Pac-12 team championship back in 2023. So he has been a part of the winning formula here at Stanford. Looking to get it back on track now in the ACC as that pitch goes low and away for ball 1. Again, the Stanford Cardinal in their first season here in the ACC conference haven't had too much success in this conference to the point. They've been swept by 4 ACC opponents to this point. Most recent one was Notre Dame here at home in the Sunken Diamond. But looking to get back on track in a non-conference battle versus UC Davis. And Dugan in an even 2-2 count. Howard, swing and a miss. 1 away here in the top of the 7th, and 2 outs away from ending this one is Dugan.
Oh, Dugan's in his rhythm. You can see just from his body language, from his demeanor, that pitch beautifully and perfectly executed from the junior on the mound. He's locked in.
Alex Gouveia now up to bat. 0 for 2 on the day. Had a pop-up over to shortstop and a fly-out over to center field. And that leads to his 0 for 2 day. He's now also 0 for 1 in the count. Is that pitch missing the zone at the bottom for 1-1.
Yeah, a good take, but a good pitch there. Don't mind that in an 0-1 count. Pitchers count.
So here it is, in a 1-1 Dugan. Swing and a miss. It's the 3rd time he's faced Gouveia. Has won both of those battles to this point. Now ahead in a 1-2. That pitch goes high for ball 2. Count evens up at 2 apiece. Gouveia batting at a .252 going into this game. Swing and a miss, another strikeout for Dugan. And he's 1 away
He got Gavea chasing, huh?
He got him chasing. Another strikeout. Caught chasing again, going low and missing the zone.
And Jackson Murphy will be the last hope here for UC Davis.
Jackson Murphy 0 for 2 on the day. Again, all UC Davis has to do is put one run up, and they keep this game going to possibly 9. First pitch, low and in the bottom of the zone for ball 1. Murphy had a line out over into right field and a grounder to second. He gets ahead in the count for 2-0.
A lot on the shoulders here of the young sophomore, designated hitter.
Murphy with a 159 batting average this year takes strike 1. Jackson Murphy has started in 16 games, now make it 17 with this one tonight. That pitch swung on, and they say he did go through.
Yeah, check swing there, and checking Ryan Bleberg, Justin Harvey, third base ump. I agree with that call. He did go through.
Murphy
down to the last strike.
Try to pull back last second, 2-2. Murphy pops that one up into center field, and dropping and falling is Hot. Murphy's going to turn this for 2 and a double for Jackson Murphy. And this keeps the game alive for the Aggies. They have a runner in scoring position with 2 away in the top of the 7th.
It's hard to tell from this angle if Hot tried to dive forward or if he just tripped, but either way, that ball gets behind Hot in center field, leaves Marsh in left to go chase for it. That was going to find the gap anyways, though. It really was.
That was one that was going to drop no matter what. But that changes it from a single to a double, and now the Aggies have a runner in scoring position, leaving it up to Everett Johnson, who's 1 for 2 on the day. He had a single in the 3rd and grounded out in the 5th. And now coming out, too, for the first time today, worth mentioning, head coach David Esquire, 8th season at the helm, 21st head coach in program history for the Stanford Cardinal. Let's see if he sticks with Dugan here.
Yeah, curious to see if this is a short leash for Dugan or if they're going to let him grind this out. I mean, you can talk about the run rule and how, he's got a runner in scoring position. If that runner scores, then we're going to continue this game. But at the end of the day, it's 11-1, and at a certain point, why not just let him run with this? And that looks like that's what's going to happen. We haven't talked about the relationships here. We've got David Esquire, head coach in his 8th season for the Stanford Cardinal, 1987 graduate of the Cardinal himself, but we've got some relationships here when you look at head coach Tommy Nicholson on the other side in the other dugout for the Aggies. He's in his 4th season, but he spent 4 years as a hitting and third base coach here at Stanford. Usually you find that in the world of college baseball. There's quite a bit of overlap.
And we didn't have the chance to talk about that, but Nicholson back in the Sunken Diamond again. He spent the early days of his career here as an assistant coach. That one's going to go low for ball 1, so Dugan is going to be trusted to put this one away still. He has a 1-0 count and a run in scoring position going against Johnson for the 3rd time today. Johnson swing and a miss.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of that conversation was just to calm Nick Dugan down. I think he wants to get out of this in 7. I think he wants this complete game in 7. But a lot of that conversation might have just been to take the weight off of his shoulders. Hey, you got a 10-run lead. You're fine. You're not going to give it up here.
Johnson, good discipline as that one goes low for ball 2. Johnson will finish out the bottom of the lineup, and then we move back to the top. So this is where the Aggies, if they can get past Johnson here, they get to the top of the lineup with Wolbert and Acosta. And let's see if the Aggies can get one of their first rallies of the games here in the 7th. That one's skied out high and deep into center field, and Ethan Hott will end this one. Redemption for Hott. He makes the catch. He puts it away, and the Stanford Cardinal get a 7-inning run rule. What a performance from Nick Dugan. He puts it away, 11-1 the score.
And you'll love to see it. He settled in and he was able to finish it. A complete game for the junior on the hill, and you said it, Ethan Hott makes up for that miscue in center field with a big out to finish it. That's a big win for the Stanford Cardinal. Both of these teams just played 3-game series this past weekend, and now a Monday game. They've got to be tired, and both will take a rest all week before their next matchups.
So the Stanford Cardinal get a moment of rest before they get back into ACC play. Again, looking ahead, they will host Wake Forest. This will be the last ACC series that the Cardinal host here at the Sunken Diamond. After that, they host Sac State, and that will end this homestand as they go to Boston College. After that, for the UC Davis Aggies, they go back home to host Washington State for a 1-game battle, then host Cal State Fullerton for a 3-game series, and then go on the road to Sac State. So a lot to look forward to for both teams. The Stanford Cardinal looking to get back on track, and what a way to do it now, 20-16 on the year. And let's see if they could carry that over into ACC play. Want to thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Alejandro Flores here with Sarah Ash on the ACC Network, and hope you all have a wonderful night. Deucios.